Good evening, and welcome to another mother-loving version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your motherboarding and mother effing host, Voice of Doom. Hello. Alright. I'm not going to talk about Buddhism. I'm not going to talk about anything that will help anyone. I'm just going to rant and rave because this weekend was indicative of what's to come, and it's not good. So let's get into that a little bit. Now, it was Mother's Day today, and we were open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because it was a special day. It's the busiest day of the year for most restaurants, and it was dead by Mother's Day standards. It was busy, but it wasn't as busy as it usually is, and I can tell. Now let me tell you about how Mother's Day went. The first thing I did this morning was wake up and take my kid down to the recruiting station for him to be shipped off to God knows where in the Army. It was his choice. I'm proud of him. That's great. But if I have to think about my own prognostication about the future, I don't really want him in the armed services for obvious reasons. Now, he is going to go in and get his college degree, and he's going to do 4 years and this and that. Okay, fine. Dropped him off, and then I had to go down to work because they told me they wanted me for 2 shifts. So okay, I got down there around 11. I was watching the front of the restaurant, and I didn't see a lot of people going in, so I didn't really hurry to get in. It's a nice sunny day, and everybody was dragging their barbecue apparatus out to the park down in Minden, and it was a nice day. It was very nice. And I walked to the restaurant, and I walked in, and it was dismal. It was not just dismal, but everybody in the restaurant were depressed. No one was talking. It was dead quiet. We had a lot more belly laughs at my dad's wake than I ever saw in that restaurant today. It was abysmal. Everybody was depressed. Nobody was talking. Nobody was laughing. And I'm like, okay. Then it started to rain, cats and dogs. And I went outside to check the park, and everybody was scurrying into their cars. And I looked at the sky, and it was gray. And I realized that it's starting. I've been watching the news, and people are getting more and more in line with what I've been saying for 2 years. So I feel like I could just stop doing diatribes for at least 6 months and let everybody catch up with what I've already said in detail throughout my last 350 videos. If you look at them carefully, you will see. And let's not bandy words, and let's not pussyfoot around. What used to be America is now going to get its comeuppance. It's going to get its karmic retribution for what it's done. And people should not act surprised. If they act surprised, that means they don't know anything about history, about what we've done, about who we are. We've deluded ourselves into thinking we're noble people, the best country, the greatest country that God ever created. according to the conservative idiots. Greatest country on God's green earth. Yeah, we're the greatest country because we spent all our time and trouble building bombs for other people to blow each other up with. We're great. America's just wonderful. And to say that, I'm not stepping on the toes of all these people with their flags and their constitution and we the people tattooed to their forehead. And I don't give a crap. Don't even start with that. I'm going to get angry if you start with that. Now let's go on with this Mother's Day fiasco. It was dead by Mother's Day standards. And I realize this is a precursor, this is a harbinger of doom. Because if you can't be totally busy on the busiest day of the year for a restaurant, then it's just going to go down. What, the next week's going to be busy after Mother's Day, after Easter? Between here and 4th of July is going to be busy. No, it's going to be dead because inflation is rearing its ugly head and people are starting to clamp down on themselves and say we can't go out to dinner. We can't spend $125 for a dinner for two. So that's going to be that. Now, I was very thankful, and I was telling everyone at work that I'm very thankful that it's the last Mother's Day I'll ever have to deal with again. And they're like, what, are you quitting? And it's like, no, there's not going to be a Mother's Day next year. What do you mean? Like, so incredibly naive. When I say there's not going to be a Mother's Day, it means honor your mother every day while you have the chance to. Don't wait for the middle of May to have a holiday, to go out to dinner, to buck the crowds, and pay for an overpriced dinner with your mom, and sit there like lumps on logs because you don't have anything to say to each other. So you should really appreciate your family and enjoy and treat your mother like it's Mother's Day every day, because there ain't going to be no Mother's Day next year. Forget that. God, I'm getting really angry having to drum this into people's heads. We are going down. Western civilization's pretty much almost over. It's happening right now before our eyes. We have the most corrupt government that we've ever had in the history of this planet. And I'm including every country. Germany in the 30s and 40s. Iran, I don't give a crap who it is, Ukraine. It's the worst. We have leaders that are corrupt to the bone now. Who do we have in their corner so that they won't get into any trouble? We have the FBI, we have the CIA, we have the media. We have the whole left wing of the tribal, primitive aborigines that are in charge of this country. So, pretty much Petri Dish and his family, every single one of them, could walk around the White House lawn with severed heads hanging from their belts. Nobody will do a damn thing about it. They won't even report it. It won't be noticed by anybody. Because Orangey was so bad that anything is better than Orangey, obviously. It's obvious that we would rather have $7 or $8 or $9 a gallon gas, hyperinflation, squeezing people over the border and into cities to where it's becoming where nobody can handle it. Sanctuary cities are sending migrants up to northern New York because they can't handle it. They can't handle a few 100,000 people in their city of 1 million, 2 million. So they send them up to New York. Now listen to this. there are veterans that fought in Afghanistan and the Middle East and Syria and staved off ISIS, or ISIL, as the first half-white president used to like to say. Now, these veterans sometimes have PSAT, post-traumatic PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. They cannot function in society, but they've given a lot to this country, and they deserve to be taken care of. So they have been taken care of. They've been given shelter in various places. Now they're being evicted from those same shelters to make room for migrants who are seeking asylum in what used to be the United States, because all these fat old ladies and all these 20-something whatevers are all in fear for their life, because the government's going to have them all executed. They're all political refugees. Their existence in Venezuela or Honduras is dangerous to them. The government will come along and kill them all. So they need to come up to our border and seek asylum, and we shuttle them through. And we're going to get more and more troops to go down there to help with the paperwork to shuttle them through. And the people of what used to be the United States are going to sooner or later, and I mean sooner, like in the next 2 or 3 days, say, we can't do this. And there's going to be a major upheaval. Now, the rest of May is going to be absolutely awful, and my microcosm sucks. So you guys better watch out, because if my microcosm starts going down, everybody else is going to go down. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care what vacation you're planning to go on for the summer. You go on vacation, you go to Europe. Go ahead. Let's see if you come back. You may not come back. You know why? Because there's going to be pandemics all over the place. Everything's going to be clamped down on, just like 2020, only worse. We have a horrible system going on. There's no justice. We have the most corrupt government ever in our history. And we've reached the end of the line. We've kicked the can to the end of the road. So people better get ready for that, because they're not going to be used to it. And sometimes I chortle to myself as I'm serving drinks to people, because they're talking about their vacation this summer, and they're going to go to England, or they're going to go to Italy. And I'm like, you're not going to have a house when you come back. Or if you do come back, you will be escorted out of your house by marauders, and you're not going to know what to do. It's going to be totally anathema to everything you've been brought up with. That you made your money off the military-industrial complex. You've done very well. You bought your house for $25,000. It's now worth $800,000. And you've done very well for yourself. And the marauders will come. And they will escort you out of your house. And if you say, no, this is my house and I'm going to defend it, then you will not have to be escorted anywhere. So I'll leave it there. I'm just a little bit pissed about everything. I'm worried about my kid. My other kid's unemployed and doesn't look like he's ever going to be able to get a job. And I'm a derelict too. So just one of those diatribes where I just want to rant and rave. And I haven't even started yet. When I start getting really mad about all this, boy, you guys better watch out. Because everybody's seeing it now. And nobody's reporting anything. I want to mention this at the very last. I was watching this foreign news thing, and Russia used a drone to blow up an ammo depot, and it was a huge explosion. It looked like an atom bomb almost. It was a big mushroom cloud. Russia destroyed a lot of what Ukraine was going to use for their so-called spring offensive. So when you see all this MSN and CNN and all this other idiocy and ABC saying how Ukraine is making great headway, don't. Check into things more. There's explosions going on over there, and Russia is not going to turn tail. That's just not going to happen. And Iran and Israel are going to go at it. It's going to be Armageddon, and Revelation is going to come true. So we can all look forward to that. So I'll leave it there. I'll talk more about things later because tomorrow's Monday, and I'm sure that all hell will break loose. So have a good evening.